just want to say that this is the kind of day that makes you want to clap your hands. And to the station, we bring new power, more power generation restored on this EVA than ever. So let MCC be heard to the ISS. Let there be light. Great job. Come on in.
World Spaceflight News Special Report.
The spacewalk today is the 256th in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. The third spacewalk that is scheduled for Expedition 68 so far this year. The 11th out of the International Space Station in 2022. Cassada and Rubio ventured outside back on November
20 and number 22. We are in the 2-minute torch time hold in step 20.
Concur with all these good numbers.
Nicole Mann reading out spacesuit readings back to mission control here in Houston. The crew is running about 10 minutes ahead of the timeline in their spacewalk preparations. They won't get too much further ahead of the timeline, though, deliberately, because all of the spacewalk work today is going to be timed out in explicit choreography to match the time that some of the work has to be done while we're in darkness or eclipse. That will match the time for the mounting of the solar array, its electrical connections, and ultimately the demating of one of 4 electrical connectors for the 1B power channel solar array that we'll talk about in just a second. Just to recap the bidding on the ISS rollout solar arrays, the original solar arrays, called the legacy arrays, although performing extremely well over the course of time, are showing some signs of degradation as expected. So to ensure a sufficient power supply is maintained for the International Space Station, NASA is in the process of augmenting the existing solar arrays and the power channels for the station accompanied by those new solar arrays. Ultimately, this will provide about a 20 to 30% increase in power for space station research and operations. The new arrays, the iROSAs, 2 of which have already been installed, today will be the third of 6 currently planned for installation. These new arrays will shade slightly over half of the length of the existing arrays and will be connected to the same power system, again augmenting and boosting the existing power supply for space station operations. The 8 current arrays, the original arrays, are currently capable of generating about 160 kilowatts of power during orbital daytime when the station is flying in daylight. Half of that power is stored in the station's batteries for use while the station is in darkness. Each new solar array, the iROSAs, will produce more than 20 kilowatts of electricity, eventually totaling about 120 kilowatts of augmented power during the time the station flies during orbital daylight. In addition, the remaining uncovered solar arrays and the partially uncovered original arrays will continue to generate about 95 kilowatts of power. So ultimately, we're going to wind up with some 215 kilowatts or so of power for the International Space Station. If time permits, at the back end of today's spacewalk activity, the crew will conduct one final important task, that being the demating of one of 4 electrical connectors on the neighboring starboard 6 truss where the 1B power channel solar array is located. About a week and a half ago, there was a power trip on that solar array, very similar to what we saw back in March, that reduced the power augmentation capability for the 1B solar array. About 10 days ago, when the latest power trip occurred, it took down the 1B channel altogether. The power output for the systems associated with the 1B channel are currently being taken over by the 1A power channel without any impact to station operations or any research activities aboard the station. However, in order to get that 1B power channel back up and running at some 75% of capacity, it will be necessary for Cassada and Rubio to demate one of 4 electrical connectors, very similar to what they'll be demating for the installation of the ISS rollout solar array during today's spacewalk. Once they demate that connector, the 1B power channel can be reactivated by the electrical systems officer. The iROSAs that you'll be hearing quite a bit about today on Earth, their mass is about 750 pounds. When folded, they're about 10 feet by 2 feet by 4 feet. Once unfurled, however, once they are opened up like a Venetian blind and then unfurled, these iROSAs will be 60 feet long, will shade part of the legacy arrays, working in concert with the original solar arrays to which they are attached to provide augmented power for the power channels on the International Space Station. They're 20 feet wide, 60 feet long once unfurled, and will produce more than about 20 kilowatts of electricity. The legacy arrays currently are producing between 17 and 23 kilowatts of electricity apiece.
As far as uninstalled, okay, copy. Thank you.
And Frank, you're going to retrieve that PGT from crew lock bag Tango and put that on your swing arm and head over to stanchion Bravo.
So PGT, I'm en route to Romeo 5. And 2 EV1, how do you hear?
Hey, and Josh, I've got both you and Frank.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. And Nick, did you copy my last? I have a PGT, I'm en route to Romeo 5.
Yep, copy, and I see you in motion.
Okay, just be advised, we didn't copy your response.
Okay, copy that.
EV1, and we have a GCA to publish the APFR ingress position when you're ready.
Copy that. In the maybe 5 minutes or so, we'll do a tether swap here.
Good view of Josh Cassada at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm in a foot restraint, positioning him at the right orientation. He will be rotating a couple of rollers called boom deployment system rollers, 90 degrees to a deployed position, part of the work in tandem with Frank Rubio to release the ISS rollout solar array from its parked position on the truss of the station.
Okay, EV1, we are at the published back-off position. We are setting up for a 2.5-minute bolt access joint OTES.
EV1 copies. Copy that. 10 to 13 turns, starting now.
Good view looking right down the barrel of the ISS rollout solar array. These are boom deployment restraint bolts that Cassada is backing out, so that there are 2 rollers that will be rotated 90 degrees to assist in the freeing up of the ISS rollout solar array from its parked position.
Okay, copy that.
Copy. I'm going to head over to Delta real quick and give Josh the system APFR. Josh, I see your right foot I think the official term is warm fuzzy. Yeah. I think that's what you're looking for. You got a warm fuzzy on your right. Okay. Your left, if you take your heel just a little more outside, can you turn it anymore? No? Okay, then you're in a good position. I can only see the inside, and it's on the edge. Okay. I think it's just large heels.
We want you to try to readjust your cuff checklist so that it doesn't push your gauntlet down.
Got that now.
Yeah, so we can see in the WVS, you want to get that band back up as high as you can on your arm. We want the gauntlet to be able to cover that wrist ring. And we've got a handover.
Yeah. And I see it protruding from this side also, same distance, 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Good, bearing hole visible. You are good. And let's try to get that pulled as far back as we can. Yeah, hold on there. Hold on to that mini workstation. All right, let me know when you're holding. Ready? Okay. Oh, GCA complete. Sorry, Duke.
GCA complete.
Okay. You probably have a good view of that in my heck at least.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, we see it in your camera. It looks good.
All right. Now, can you do something similar to me? Yep. Let's see. You unlock. I'll hold you right here. Got it? Okay. Yep. And you are clear of that solar array. I'll keep you clear. Just watch your right hand on that panel, and I'll try to keep you stable.
So after a minor wardrobe adjustment for Frank Rubio, the two spacewalkers continue on in this 256th spacewalk in support of space station assembly maintenance and upgrades.
I'll tell you what, if I pull this side, can you do that side? That's the problem. We'll just need to be, if I can. I don't think there's a way we can affect our locks, but let's be careful. Yep. It's not. It's the bottom part here. I'm going to spin it. So, you see down here, I'm going to turn my hand this way. Right. Almost there.
And guys, we see you working with it. Just watch any of the sharps that are on the cuff checklist. The coil binding can snag on things.
Copy. All right, Nick. Yeah. How much more time do you want to devote to this? Is this worth it? It's also a ton of energy. It's just, unfortunately, the strap is like maxed out.
Yep, copy, guys. Appreciate the effort on that. It looks like the gauntlet's able to cover it up, so we're good to press.
Okay, I'm going to need 15 centimeters body in, and the sun is coming out, and I'm clearance myself.
Okay, we are standing by and ready for the maneuver to publish iROSA removal on your go.
All right, stand by. We're going to release from FSC first, and if everybody's go, Frank, are you go? You're a go. All right, so we're going to go nadir slightly, and you can help guide that if you want. Okay, that's good. The pins. Okay, good. All right, now pull. There we go. Okay.
And the ISS rollout solar array, the third in the series of upgraded augmenting arrays for the station, is free from its flight support structure.
All right, Frank. You've got the comm for the Robo. Okay. And Duke, you have a go for GCA to publish iROSA removal.
Okay, this is going to bring EV1 body down 4 meters.
Copy.
Starting motion.
You have about 3 inches of clearance from the grapple fixture. Okay. You see motion? Good motion. Clear the grapple fixture in about 10 inches.
Okay. Are you putting any force into iROSA?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to just keep it slightly away from. So I have about 2 inches of clearance.
Okay.
Okay, you are clear of the grapple fixture. Continue.
Copy.
How's it feel?
Somehow heavy and light at the same time.
Okay, you are completely clear from this side, so.
Copy.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
All right, Nick, I'm going to
Half meters to go.
Copy.
Say it again. How many meters?
2.5 meters to go.
Copy.
Smooth as glass, Josh Cassada
And Frank,
moves with the ISS rollout solar array away from the flight support equipment on the truss of the station. A good view of Josh Cassada with the ISS rollout solar array. On Earth, it has a mass of about 750 pounds. Once unfurled, it will measure 60 feet long by 20 feet wide, attached to the integrated electronics assembly alongside the original solar array on the starboard fore truss, producing power for the 3A power channel.
And Frank, that's out there on the Cedar Rail, mile marker 6300.
Three, two, one.
Flying toward the west coast of South America, Josh Cassada holding the ISS rollout solar array, being maneuvered toward the starboard fore truss worksite for its installation to augment power capability for the 3A power channel on the International Space Station. We are 2 hours 34 minutes into the spacewalk, everything going very smoothly.
And Frank, Nick's back with you. Got a caution here about the Red Hook location is going to be near an IEA radiator, so just be aware of that. The handrail you're looking for is 2217.
On there.
The iROSA itself is correctly aligned on the mounting bracket.
Getting away from me. Hey, Nick, I got a question about the mod kit.
Nick, you there?
For you there.
Yeah, I got you, Josh.
Confirm, have you loud and clear.
All right, so on the mod kit, there's an arrow that I think is the very center of the mod kit. It's a label, and there's a left label and a right label. Can you confirm that the hinge will be lined up with that arrow.
Checking.
If that's the case, Frank, we're going to need to translate your way about a ½ inch. I don't know how that makes sense with your plot.
Well, right now, that would make sense, actually. We translated back towards you a little bit.
Okay, so let's go a little bit towards you.
Okay. Continue about, okay, right there.
Okay, so that arrow is not at the hinge. The hinge is going to be about an inch bi-direction from that arrow.
Okay.
I would have thought that the hinge would have lined up right with that midpoint.
Yeah, Josh, that arrow should line up dead center with the hinge.
All right, my ret is off. We are saying we're installed because we've got 2 shaft captures. So the ret is off. The scoop is going to stay on for now, correct, Frank? Or correct, Nick?
That's affirmative.
Okay. Koichi and Duke, we are installed and ready for the back-off maneuver.
Copy, we are setting up for the iROSA backoff.
Feels weird not to be holding onto an iROSA now.
I know. It also feels weird to have the Earth completely above you.
Hey, and guys, big picture. Big picture.
That's upside down.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, guys. Just big picture, you're well ahead of timeline. You're going to see an eclipse come. This is not the one we're targeting for the cable mate. We're working on the next eclipse after this one. So when it gets dark, we're not behind.
1.5 meters.
With the iROSA installed on its mounting bracket, the next step, once Cassada is backed away at the end of the station's robotic arm from the work site, to provide clearance will be the release of final hinge restraint bolts that will enable the iROSA to unfold like a flip phone to its pre-deployment orientation.
Nicely done, Frank. I cannot wait to hear what it was.
It was just the outside soft capture one just wasn't, so I just pulled it all the way down, and then it slid right in.
Awesome. I see. It just wasn't sliding past the little nubs.
Soft capture wasn't so soft. Not quite soft enough.
Holy cow.
Ramping out motion.
Meanwhile, the space station is about to fly into an orbital sunset over Cologne, the home of the Columbus Control Center.
And setting up for a 2.5 minute R6 backoff joint OCAS.
EV1 copies.
Before the bolts are driven to basically free up the hinge restraints on the ISS rollout solar array, Josh Cassada will be placed in a position to leave the articulating portable foot restraint that he's been mounted on at the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm, which has been driven by Koichi Wakata with the assistance of Nicole Mann from the robotics workstation in the Destiny laboratory of the International Space Station.
See good motion.
Yeah, Frank, if you hold the cap in one hand and the back shell, the metal part of the back shell in the other, and just try to separate them, it should move the lever by itself.
And P2 to J2, and I have good pins, no fraud, good EMI band.
Good checks. Go to mate.
Do you want me heading over to 2217?
That's affirmative, Josh. You're good to go over there for your tether swap.
4 hours, 14 minutes into the spacewalk, Frank Rubio working with Josh Cassada They've completed the bolting of the left side of a series of 8 bolts, 4 on each side, that will permanently affix the ISS rollout solar array to the integrated electronics assembly on the International Space Station's starboard fore truss.
Okay, there's a clocking of 9, because I got 6 facing me, which I believe is true, and I got a good pulse twist test, and I'm black on black.
Copy.
I'm going to grab my rep back, and then I'm going to go for Foxtrot on pitch.
Okay, we copy that your tethers are clear and your APFR is reconfigured. We are going to maneuver to the IEA back off position.
Copy. All right, Frank, what does that leave? That's all of those bolts. So you want us heading to R9, R10, or do you want us going to cables? Okay.
Hey guys, big picture. We've got about 18 minutes till eclipse. We're going to work on some cleanup steps here with the M-bag, and then we're going to get in position for cable mates during eclipse.
4 hours, 42 minutes into the spacewalk. Frank Rubio and Josh Cassada soon will begin the mating of electrical cables, 2 on each side of the integrated electronics assembly, 2 for the left blanket box, 2 for the right blanket box that will electrically tie the new ISS rollout solar array to the original solar array delivered 15.5 years ago to the International Space Station.
Yeah, Josh, for both of you, when you're cleaning up these cables, what we're trying to do is just prevent snag hazards when people are translating by. So it's going to be your call to try to shore up any kind of potential snags and tidy them up.
This is Mission Control Houston. At the 5-hour mark in today's spacewalk, Josh Cassada and Frank Rubio have sailed through most of the work associated with the installation of the first of the 2 ISS rollout solar arrays delivered last week on the SpaceX Cargo Dragon resupply mission to the International Space Station.
Josh, if you can give me glove, hat, and gauntlet check, and then Frank, I don't know if I copied your glove and hat.
Nope, I looked at them and didn't tell you. My gloves, no changes, dry hat, good comments.
Copy, Frank.
After removing the iROSA, as it is called by its acronym, from its flight support equipment, Josh Cassada rode the end of the Canadarm2 robotic arm holding the 750-pound in mass rollout solar array over to the starboard fore truss work site, where he and Rubio worked to bolt it in place, first mounting it on a mounting bracket that was installed on a previous spacewalk, then bolting it in place, and then just moments ago completing the connection of 4 electrical connectors to electrically mate the new array to the power system for the 3A power channel on the International Space Station. We're about to move into an orbital sunrise, at which point the crew members will release a pair of launch restraint bolts that will begin the unfurling of the array to its full length of 60 feet.
I'm at 21 turns. It just needs a little persuasion.
Copy, Josh. That's expected.
Okay with it, Nick. I'm going to put a couple more turns on it.
Yep, your go. Yeah, you can't overturn it.
Okay, sounds good.
Turn to move.
And applause here in Mission Control. The rollout solar array begins to unfurl. This will take a little under 10 minutes to reach its full length of 60 feet.
That is incredible. That's pretty cool. Oh. Amazing job from the engineers who came up with this idea and the ones who put together the plan. This is remarkable.
The ISS rollout solar array began to unfurl at 11:37 a.m. Central Time at the 5-hour, 21-minute mark into today's spacewalk.
Okay, Nick, the first set of magnets are all clipped together.
Yeah, copy, Frank. And if you could roll a little bit to your right, we'd might help us see it on your HECA. That's great view. Appreciate the effort.
Yep.
This array, when fully deployed to its length of 60 feet, will shadow about half of the original array on the starboard fore truss, providing an additional 20 kilowatts or so of electrical capability for the space station.
And Nick, from my vantage point, it looks like on this side, all the magnets are aligning and zipping up properly all the way, at least for 15, 20 feet.
That's great to hear, Frank. Thanks for the words.
This is Mission Control Houston, the new ISS rollout solar array doing just what its name implies, rolling out to its full length of 60 feet that began about 5 minutes ago.
I know that I'm rarely speechless, but this will do it.
That's pretty cool. It's a pretty amazing view to backdrop to do this, Joe.
And Josh, Frank, we've got a few minutes here as it finishes the deployment, and then we tighten everything back up and start cleaning up. Wanted to give you some big picture words and then figure out, get some input from you on the way forward, because we do have a little bit of time before the next eclipse where we're going to go after that 1 Bravo.
Okay. Ready to copy.
Yeah, so big picture, consumables are looking great, timeline's looking great, so we're not facing any limits there. We've been scratching our heads on the things that Josh might be able to do while you're out working the 1 Bravo. So that would involve going back to the FSE and releasing bolts 1 through 4, R1 through R4, and no need to do any kind of socket swap or anything. We'd have you drop a crew lock bag off on the seated cart on your way. But that would Josh, that would put you at the FSC while Frank's getting in position out at 1 Bravo. I just want to check and see how you guys are feeling. If you're good with that plan, ground's here to support.
So you're broken, but I understand the question is, are we comfortable with me being at the FSC doing R1 through R4 on the lower iROSA while Frank is with 6?
Yep, copy. We've got some comm interference. You were a little broken, but yeah, that's the question. Are you guys good with the split?
I'm okay with it.
Nick, how long of a transmission is if we need to do it quickly? Seems like it would be 10, 15? Maybe 10?
Yeah, we think 5 to 10.
5 to 10. Well, Frank, if you are comfortable with it and we can go ahead and just talk through the route that I would take to get out to you. So we've already thought through it, there's no questions. And I'd be comfortable with that.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll just stay in constant comm, and I'll let you know everything's going well the whole time.
Okay. Nick, I think I can picture a lot of the handrails for me to get out there. Obviously from the FSE, going under the MT, going under the starboard seated cart, going across the Sarge. Should I stay stationed forward? Or would I?
Yeah, yeah, that would work.
And I don't know if you have it up in front of you, but would it be the same path I took before? I know we've changed the configuration of the station. I think there were handrails like 2222. I know that I was going the right way after crossing the Sarge.
And Josh, we're talking it. Yeah, copy, Josh. It'd be nadir forward corner all the way to the FSC, or all the way out, I'm sorry.
Okay. And that was a pretty clean path, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a straight line shot, and it's per what we had sent you in the brief.
Okay. It still does have that grapple fixture, but just that one obstruction, is that right?
A-firm.
Well, Frank, I'm as familiar as you can be. Haven't looked at it on the computer, and then at least haven't been out there once, but that's not the route I went.
Yep, and if I had to come to you, I would just follow my others, swap, and then head over to the Cedar Cart.
I agree. Okay, Nick, if we end up going that route, EV1 and EV2 are game.
Yep, copy, Josh. Appreciate you guys talking through that. We're tracking along. Understand that anything that we've got you doing, Josh, we can break out at any time. And so if the situation changes, if we feel like we want to just stop and call it a day, you guys have crushed it up to this point. This is all extra and nice to have things.
Okay, sounds great. And this spacewalk was crushed. We certainly didn't do it by ourselves.
The new ISS rollout solar array now fully deployed to its length of 60 feet. The deployment took about 9 minutes to complete.
Oh, Josh out.
The deployment or the unfurling of the array began at 11:37 a.m. Central Time and was complete about 2 minutes ago. Two bolts now will be driven to tension the array, and then all of the iROSA work will be complete.
I'll head back up that way.
Sounds good. Okay, Nick, then I'll go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say your settings for the PGT are Alpha 1, Counter 2.
Okay. Alpha 1, Counter 2.
So the new ISS solar array joins the original array delivered to the space station at the starboard truss more than 15 years ago to augment the power capability and output for the 3A power channel on the International Space Station.
221, whatever it takes.
Josh Cassada will move towards the likelihood of a get-ahead work to release 4 bolts on the other ISS rollout solar array that was delivered on the SpaceX Cargo Dragon resupply flight a week ago at the International Space Station. That array, or rollout solar array, is due to be released and transported to the port truss of the station for installation and deployment on December 19th in another spacewalk plan for Cassada and Rubio. This would be get-ahead work to release the first 4 bolts that are holding that second ISS rollout solar array to its flight support equipment.
Thank you for the reminder. And does this one pop out?
It will spring out when fully released.
Okay. Thank you.
Meanwhile, we're about 42 minutes from entering the next eclipse period and darkness for the station, at which time Frank Rubio will be at the starboard 6 truss and will work to demate one of 4 electrical connectors for the 1B power channel solar array that experienced an electrical trip. We're taking down that 1B power channel about 10 days ago. The loads for generation of electricity for station systems through the 1B channel were seamlessly transferred over to the 1A power channel, but to regain the 1B power channel capability at a somewhat reduced efficiency of about 75% of capacity, one electrical cable needs to be demated to isolate the affected area of that array. Rubio will demate the one electrical connector, and the electrical systems specialists here in Mission Control will reactivate the 1B power channel, bringing it back into operation, albeit at 75% of rated performance.
Good R12.
And the 2 bolts to tension the newly deployed rollout solar array have now been driven, so that solar array work is now complete.
Yep. Release it.
And guys, just want to let you know we're seeing good power off iROSA, so it's up and working.
Nice. Awesome news. Awesome. Holy cow. And my TTV setting is now 4.
Copy, Josh.
And that word long awaited by spacecraft communicator Nick Hague, that the newly installed iROSA is generating full electrical power.
Look on that is also on my right gear extender. I see gate closed, hook lock, black on black. Okay, so I see a good load pass. Do I have a go for my right tether release?
This is Mission Control Houston, approaching the 6-hour mark in today's spacewalk by Josh Cassada and Frank Rubio. The major objective, the installation, deployment, and activation of the first of 2 ISS rollout solar arrays delivered a week ago on the SpaceX Cargo Dragon resupply flight, is now fully activated and generating electricity, tied into the electrical system for the 3A power channel on the International Space Station's starboard fore truss. There's a good view of Josh Cassada, whose next task will be a get-ahead task to back away 4 bolts, to release 4 bolts, holding the second of the 2 ISS rollout solar arrays on flight support equipment, this time on the opposite side of the backbone on the port fore truss of the station. This is get-ahead work in advance of Cassada and Rubio, replicating the work they did today during the next spacewalk that they will conduct on December 19th.
We were in a handover, so Frank, you were getting ready to mate, and I think, Josh, you had said you saw a turkey timer.
I do. I have a turkey timer on the left, and if you want, I'll go counterclockwise 3, alpha 3 on R4.
Hey, Josh, it's completely your call. We're happy to stop here and start working our way back in. Understand it's extra effort doing that free float.
I'll be honest, I'm here. I'd like to not come back. So if you don't mind, we'll just knock out R4 now.
Okay, copy that. So it's alpha 3 counterclockwise 3. And Frank, Josh, now that we've got all those connector ops done, we're going to try to turn on some external lights to help you out.
The 2 astronauts have wrapped up all of their work for today. The installation of the ISS rollout solar array on the starboard fore truss to augment power for the 3A power channel on the International Space Station. It is up and running, generating electricity in excellent fashion. Frank Rubio recently, in the last few minutes, demated one of 4 electrical connectors at the starboard 6 truss for the 1B power channel that was affected by a power trip about 10 days ago, taking down that power channel. It is in the process of being reactivated right now by the electrical systems officer here in Mission Control. Once reactivated, it should be back up and running to about 75% of its power capability. It will receive in of its own an ISS rollout solar array next year, the next pair to be delivered on a future SpaceX cargo delivery mission.
Josh, see you down at the airlock. Frank's on his way in. Just thought I'd give you guys the general pulse of the control room, which is a bunch of smiling faces. People are super excited about how much we got done today. So awesome job.
Thank you so much. You got 2 giant smiles out here as well. What an amazing team. You guys definitely deserve your Sunday off, that's for sure. And Frank, what do you think? We maybe use this new station power to catch up on some college football.
Sounds good. The game's not till next week, but, you know, we can give our Go Army beat Navy today if we want to.
Wow. That wasn't my fault. I didn't know he was going to do that. I think we're going to do reverse of what we did. I'm going to pass you the bag now if that's easier to connect and send in.
Yep, give me a second. Let me just put in the...
And you're doing a waist tether that's E-ring extender, is that right?
Yep, and gate closed, hook lock, back on back.
Perfect.
And Nick, once I have that and I'm in the airlock, is Josh just able to release my... Oh, well, you're going to have to release yours anyway, so never mind.
You are latched and locked.
Copy, Josh. Understand lacked and latched and locked on the hatch. I've only got 7 hours on this mouse. Well done. Flight's got a few words for you.
Hey, for Frank, Josh, and Guichi and Duke, I just want to say that this is the kind of day that makes you want to clap your hands. And to the station, we bring new power, more power generation restored on this EVA than ever. So let MCC be heard to the ISS. Let there be light. Great job. Come on in.
Wow, that is overwhelming. You guys are incredible. Thank you.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're looking at the equipment lock section of the Quest airlock. Koichi Wakata of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency and Nicole Mann from NASA on the right, as the repressurization of the crew lock section of Quest well underway, going back to its normal pressure of 14.7 pounds per square inch, at which point Wakata and Mann will open up the hatch and bring back inside the equipment lock Josh Cassada and Frank Rubio following their spacewalk today. Here are today's statistics following the completion of the extravehicular activity. This was the 256th spacewalk in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. The 11th spacewalk conducted out of the ISS in 2022. The third spacewalk during Expedition 68. For both Cassada and Rubio, it was the second spacewalk of their respective careers, both totaling 14 hours and 16 minutes of spacewalking time. The 256 spacewalks for International Space Station support have now totaled 1,623 hours and 18 minutes, which is the equivalent of 67 days, 15 hours, and 18 minutes of spacewalking time. And the 3 spacewalks for Expedition 68 now have logged 20 hours and 41 minutes.
On the IV.